Have you ever looked at a company and just wondered, how do they do it? They create these amazing products, their customers are always happy, and they seem to make it all look so easy. Well, the secret isn't magic. It's a powerful idea, delivering the most value with the least possible waste. And today, we're going to break down exactly how they pull it off.
So this is really the million-dollar question, isn't it? How can a business ramp up its efficiency, make its products better, and cut costs, all at the same time? It sounds kind of impossible, but it's actually a really smart system, and we're about to pull back the curtain and see how it works.
All right, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll dive into the whole philosophy of lean and the 7 types of waste it's designed to hunt down. Then we'll look at the actual tools that put lean into action, like JIT and Kaizen. After that, we'll switch gears to quality and figure out the huge difference between quality control and quality assurance. And finally, we'll wrap up with the systems that lock in excellence for the long haul.
Okay, let's start with the big idea, the philosophy of lean. Now, this isn't just a cost-cutting trick. It's a complete mindset for running a business, all focused on being smarter, faster, and way more efficient in absolutely everything you do.
So what exactly is lean production? Well, at its heart, it's a system where you look at every single decision you make, big or small, through one simple lens. Does this get rid of waste? The goal is to create more of what the customer actually wants while using fewer resources to do it. It's a simple concept, but believe me, it's revolutionary when you put it into practice.
And to make all this happen, lean organizations really live by a few core principles. They're obsessed with continuous improvement, always making small, steady changes for the better. They're laser-focused on getting rid of any activity that doesn't add value. They use flexible, multi-skilled teams. And crucially, they build really strong, collaborative partnerships with their suppliers.
To really get lean, you have to understand its enemy, and that enemy is waste. The philosophy points out 7 main types. Think about motion, like a worker having to walk all the way across the factory just to grab a tool. That's waste. Or inventory, that's just cash tied up in parts sitting on a shelf, doing nothing. The goal of lean is to hunt down and eliminate every last one of these little inefficiencies.
So a philosophy is great, right? But how do you actually do it? How do you make it real? Well, that brings us to the toolbox, the practical tools that companies use to turn these lean ideas into reality.
First up is a tool that's really a philosophy in itself, Kaizen. You might know it as continuous improvement. Now, this isn't about making massive, disruptive changes. It's about empowering every single employee, from the CEO to the person on the assembly line, to find small, clever ways to make their job a little bit better every single day. Next, we have just-in-time, or JIT. Here's an easy way to think about it. You don't buy groceries for an entire month and just hope they don't go bad, right? No, you buy what you need for the next few days. JIT is the same idea for a factory. Parts and materials show up from suppliers exactly when they're needed for production, which means you don't need giant, costly warehouses to store them.
But JIT is a real balancing act. On the one hand, the benefits are huge. You have way better cash flow, and you basically eliminate storage costs. Awesome. But on the flip side, the risks are pretty serious. You lose out on discounts for buying in bulk, and your entire operation becomes totally dependent on your suppliers being perfectly reliable. One late truck can shut down the whole factory.
So to make a high-stakes system like JIT work, you need crystal-clear communication. That's where signals like Kanban and Andon are key. A Kanban is just a simple visual signal. It could be a card, a light, or even an empty bin that basically shouts, "Hey, we need more of this part now." And an Andon is a cord or button that anyone can use to stop the entire production line if they spot a problem. It's about fixing issues immediately, not letting them slide.
Okay, so we've made our process super efficient and gotten rid of the waste. That's fantastic. But it's only half the battle. What good is an efficient process if the product itself isn't great? This brings us to the other side of the coin, the relentless pursuit of quality.
At the end of the day, quality management is about one thing, and one thing only, making sure your product consistently does what your customer needs and expects it to do. This is how you build a rock-solid reputation, attract new customers, and, most importantly, it's what keeps them coming back again and again.
And right here is a really crucial distinction to understand. Think of quality control as detection. It's like having an inspector at the very end of the assembly line to catch the mistakes before they go out the door. But quality assurance is all about prevention. It's about building quality into every single step of the process from the very beginning so the mistakes can't even happen in the first place. It's proactive, not reactive.
So, if you want to build that culture of prevention, how do you do it? Well, you need systems. You need formal, structured processes that bake a commitment to quality into the DNA of the entire organization, from the boardroom all the way down to the factory floor.
And companies use a few really powerful systems to make this happen. You've got things like quality circles, where groups of workers get together to solve problems they see on the ground. There's also benchmarking. That's all about looking at the best companies out there and learning from what they do right. And then there's the big one, Total Quality Management, or TQM, which is a philosophy that basically says quality is everybody's job.
Now, the ultimate public declaration of quality is getting a certification like ISO 9000. This isn't just some internal award. It's an internationally recognized seal of approval. It tells the entire world that you have proven documented systems for ensuring quality. That builds incredible trust and can open up entirely new markets for your business.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground, so let's slow down for a second and just boil it all down to the absolute essentials. If you're going to remember anything from this explainer, make it these 5 key takeaways.
First, lean is way more than just a tactic. It's a whole business philosophy. Its one and only goal is to maximize value by systematically hunting down and destroying those 7 key wastes.
Second, remember the key tools. Kaizen is all about making small, constant improvements driven by everyone. And just-in-time is that radical approach to inventory, where materials arrive exactly when they're needed and not a second sooner.
Third, and this is so important, is that mental shift in how we think about quality. It's about moving away from just catching mistakes at the end of the line and toward building a system that prevents them from ever happening. Detection versus prevention. That's the game changer.
Fourth, Total Quality Management, or TQM, takes that idea to the next level. It makes excellence the personal responsibility of every single person in every single department. It's how you build a true culture of quality. And finally, remember that official standards like ISO 9000 aren't just a bunch of paperwork. They're incredibly powerful tools for proving your commitment, reassuring your customers, and gaining a serious competitive edge. So, that wraps us up. But I want to leave you with one final thought. Think back to that list of the 7 wastes. Things like unnecessary motion or just waiting around. Which one of those could you start to trim down or eliminate from your own daily work or life starting tomorrow? Thanks for joining me.